Hello, everyone. Welcome to Guidance IAS. And today we will be continuing with our series of April's current affairs. We've done with the first week current affairs, and today we are going to cover the second week's current affair for the month of April. So, as always, we will start with the subject polity, and like my approach is we will first be understanding the contextual part of any topic, and then we will come to the rest of it, or then we will try and understand about each and everything about the topic. All right, so first thing first, the first topic of our today's discussion is again a very important topic, is related to CAG's audit. Okay, so recently CAG has done an audit of UIDAI. We will be understanding every dimension. First of all, things related to CAG, and then definitely we'll come to the UIDI. And of course, the major highlight of today's topic would be the highlights which the report has suggested. And there are certain issues which this report or this audit has suggested. We will be dealing with them along with certain recommendations. And about I've told you this, but we will also see the recommendations along with the highlights of this report. So let us see the context first. Let us understand the context first. So as I've told you that recently CAG has presented this report. CAG, we all know, is an independent authority of our country, right? CAG stands for Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Comptroller and Auditor General, राइट. सो इनका जो बेसिक काम होता है इज बेसिकली टू डू व्हाट, to do he is basically the head of audit and account department of our country. इनकी पोस्ट के लिए बहुत criticism भी होता है, as it is generally said it in, and it is also mentioned in your Lakshmikant, that he only plays a role of auditor only, not the comptroller, because what comptroller का role ये नहीं play करते हैं, because of what, because they audit, he audit the account after the expenditure is committed. Okay, or you can say the expect post facto auditing only he do. ठीक है, इनकी परमिशन की जरूरत नहीं होती है बिफोर द सैंक्शन ऑफ एनी अमाउंट, ओनली ऑडिटिंग ही do. So that's one of the criticisms, or one of the, he's at one of the disadvantageous positions when we come to when we talk about his powers. On the other hand, Britain में ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है, उनके पास दोनों powers होती हैं, as a auditor and a comptroller also, right? Anyways, coming back to our topic, so he has presented this report, audit report, wherein of what, UIDAI, wherein they said, or this report said basically, that there are certain issues with UIDAI. So they said that we've been observing, or they have basically observed things from 2015 to 2019, और उसमें कुछ concerns आगे आए हैं related to UIDAI. Today our major concern and our major focus would be upon what are those issues this report has highlighted regarding UIDAI. ठीक है, so first issue is the duplication of Aadhaar. So ये रिपोर्ट ने ये पाया है that there are certain duplication of Aadhaar. What do you mean by duplication of Aadhaar? It means that the Aadhaar number, the number on the Aadhaar number is different for a particular Aadhaar, but the biometrics are similar, or you can say are same. तो biometrics तो same है उस particular Aadhaar की, but the numbers are different. So which results into the duplication of Aadhaar, definitely. So this is one of the highlights of this report and one of the issues they have addressed. Second is lack of oversight of subcontractors. What do we mean by subcontractor here? We know कि our government, or you can say UIDAI, not the government, UIDAI specifically, this body gives contracts to the private contractors. You can say जो tele communication वाले होते हैं, in your neighbors also, you all must have been there. जब भी आपने अपना आधार कार्ड बनवाया होगा, you all must have visited there and must have given all the biometrics and all the information to that person. So this is one of the issues कि बहुत ज़्यादा liberty दी है UIDAI ने उन private contractors को, and they are misusing it, or they are freely using it, or they are not doing their work responsibly. So this is also one of the issues they have come up with, right? Rather, UIDAI का जो contract होना चाहिए, that should be directly with the state government, not with the private contractors, but हो उल्टा ही रहा है. So again, This was another issue. Next is no document for proof of residency. कोई प्रूफ नहीं मांगा जाता है रेजिडेंसी के लिए, which means कि चीजें सेल्फ what do we call it, चीजें जो हैं वो सेल्फ डिक्लेरेशन पे हो रही हैं. So suppose you go to to the person अपना आधार कार्ड बनवाने के लिए, and they'll ask you like about your citizenship. ठीक है, तो उन्होंने आपसे पूछ लिया और आपने बता दिया that we are staying in India only from so and so years. So this is called as self declaration, कि आपने सिर्फ बता दिया और उन्होंने मान लिया. They would not ask for any proof, right? I agree कि कई बार वो प्रूफ मांग भी लेते हैं, बट बहुत there are times जब वो सेल्फ डिक्लेरेशन पे ही चलते हैं. सो अगेन दिस इज अ मेजर कॉज ऑफ अ कंसर्न. ऐसे तो एनीबडी कैन कम एंड गेट दिस थिंग डन, राइट? एंड वी ऑल्सो नो कि हमारे यहाँ पर यूजुअली 182 डेज तक रहना होता है, एंड देन ओनली वी कैन अप्लाई, रहना होता है इंडिया में, देन ओनली वी कैन अप्लाई फॉर आधार कार्ड. ठीक है, सो ये वाली जो 182 डेज वाली जो कंडीशन है वो बहुत सारे लोगों की फुलफिल नहीं होती है, एंड बिफोर दैट ओनली दे अप्लाई फॉर द आधार कार्ड. एंड दिस इज अगेन वन ऑफ द इश्यूज दे हैव हाईलाइटेड एंड दे हैव फाउंड आउट. एक्चुअली इससे पहले हमें नहीं ये प्रॉब्लम के बारे में पता था. सो अगेन, सो ये काफ़ी, I'm telling you these are really important highlights. बहुत ही I'm sure इन सब चीज़ों के बारे में आप सबको नहीं पता होगा before this report came, right? So these are really important. Then you have faulty enrollment process and also the data security issue. Data security issue remains the same. There is one more issue which is not mentioned here, and that is called Bal Aadhaar. I'll write it here. It is Bal Aadhaar. Okay, Bal Aadhaar. Now, what do we mean by this Bal Aadhaar, and what is the problem related to it? So, Bal Aadhaar, we know कि जब below 5 years of age, बेसिकली 5 साल से जो छोटे बच्चे होते हैं, दे व्हेन दे अप्लाई फॉर द आधार कार्ड, उनकी जो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन प्रोसेस होती है, एवरीथिंग, ऑल ऑफ द डॉक्यूमेंट्स बिलोंग टू द पेरेंट्स. ठीक है, उनकी डॉक्यूमेंट्स नहीं लगते बिकॉज दे माइनर्स, राइट? बट वंस दे आर ऑफ 5 years इन अबव, तो उनको दोबारा आधार कार्ड के लिए अप्लाई करना पड़ता है यूजिंग देयर ओन बायोमेट्रिक्स. Right now, UIDAI, या फिर you can say this CAG report was of the opinion कि when those children, they have to apply again after 5 years, then why to waste money 5 साल से पहले उनका आधार कार्ड बनवाने के लिए, why to waste money? And they have also said कि around 310 करोड़ रुपीस को ऐसे ही वेस्ट कर दिया गया है. सो दे आर अगेन ऑफ द ओपिनियन कि अगर दोबारा आधार कार्ड आपको बनवाना ही है तो आप पहले मत बनवाइए, या और यू कम अप विद सर्टेन ऑल्टरनेटिव्स, ताकि एक ही बार आपको आधार कार्ड बनवाना पड़े, बार जरूरत ना पड़े. ठीक है, विल रीड ऑल ऑफ दोज थिंग्स इन recommendations कि what all recommendations this report gave. ठीक है, so these were some of the issues they have highlighted, right? Next we have is recommendations. So what were the recommendations? I'll just take you to this. So the recommendations of this, just a second. Yeah, so we were talking about the recommendations of this report. So there were certain recommendations. I'll just jot them out. The recommendations which came up was, first was that we need to prescribe a procedure for self declaration. So we need to prescribe a process for self declaration, which means that there should be a proper procedure, there should be a proper standard through which we do this self declaration thing. ऐसा नहीं है कि ये that liberty should be given to those private contractors only कि अपने हिसाब से वो चीजें कर पाए. There should be a proper process, an SOP, standard of procedure, for self declaration. Next was frame a suitable data archival, frame a suitable data archival policy, right? So that again this data protection thing could be there, right? Or data आपको पता है is a new wealth, so data protection is definitely needed when it comes to anything which is happening online. Next is we need to explore the alternative ways to capture the uniqueness of biometric identification for minor, like I was telling you कि क्योंकि उनको दो बारी दे नीड टू अप्लाई फॉर द आधार कार्ड, वंस वन व्हेन दे आर बिलो 5 years ऑफ एज, ठीक है, थ्रू जहाँ पर जो डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस होते हैं, जो पेरेंट्स के डॉक्यूमेंटेशंस होते हैं, एंड आफ्टर वंस दे अटेन एज ऑफ 5 years देयर ओन बायोमेट्रिक्स एंड एवरीथिंग is used. So we need to come up with some alternative method, so that, or you can say a unique method, so that their biometric identification could be done in a proper way, and it maybe at one time only, right? And it will definitely save the cost also. So economically it is going to be beneficial for the government. Now talking about UIDAI, okay, talking about this UIDAI. So UIDAI और UIDAI के बारे में हम थोड़ा सा जान लेते हैं. UIDAI we know is a statutory authority, right? Statutory authority है, and it works under the jurisdiction of which ministry? Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, right? मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी. और इसका काम बेसिकली यही है, विच इज टू असाइन दिस 12 digit आधार card, and we all know this is very easy, right? So this was about the CAG report regarding UIDAI, certain issues which this CAG report highlighted, and I feel these are very, very important issues, and very important. This entire topic is not just important for your prelims examination, but also for your mains examination, particularly these highlights or these issues which were reported by CAG. ये जो issues हैं, these are very important for your mains examination, along with their solutions and the recommendations given by CAG. All right, moving ahead with the next topic. Next topic is Mission Vatsalya. Now again, the thing or the process will be same. We'll first understand the context, and then we will understand what Mission Vatsalya is. Before that, we all know that in our society, children and women are the most vulnerable sections, right? Even there was a report which said that every second woman is anemic in our country, and every third child is stunted in our country, and that's a huge cause of a concern. So in order to cater these problems, time and again our government keep coming up with these schemes. One of those schemes is Mission Vatsalya, or Vatsalya program, whatever you call it. So it comes under Ministry of Women and Child Development. Again, a factual point you have to remember for your prelims examination. Next, it has sent its draft guidelines for Mission Vatsalya scheme. Now the next question arises is what Mission Vatsalya is. So before that, Mission Vatsalya एक triad of schemes है, or you can say is one of the triads of the schemes, is one of the schemes among those triads of scheme. And what are those three schemes we are talking about? First is Mission Shakti, which we all know talks about women empowerment. Second is Mission, or you can say Poshan 2.0, and third is the Mission Vatsalya itself, right? Now talking certain things about Poshan 2.0. Poshan 2.0 सबसे पहले Poshan 2.0 Poshan 2.0 सबसे पहले तो it has been mentioned in budget, in this year's budget of 2021 and 22. That is why this becomes very, very important for the upcoming examination. Any scheme or anything which has been mentioned in the budget automatically importance for UPSC examination, right? So this is the first thing you need to remember. Also, you also need to remember कि इसका initially this name was not the real name, right? इसके जो नाम है वो चेंज हुए हैं. So that's something you need to remember. But the major objective or the major aim of the scheme was to strengthen the nutritional quality of nutritional quality of food, so that the nutritional outcomes could be enhanced. Of what? Of which section? Especially of children, pregnant women, pregnant women, lactating mothers, राइट. तो इन सब के न्यूट्रिशन में हम न्यूट्रिशनल क्वालिटी को हम एनहांस कर सकें. दैट इज व्हाई पोषण 2.0 वाज देयर. अगेन देयर इज वन important thing we do. We celebrate a Poshan Ma means a month. So we celebrate it in September. September is the month we chose to celebrate as Poshan Ma. ठीक है. Again, the major aim is the same only, so that the nutritional outcomes could be enhanced of that particular or that vulnerable section which we have just talked about, right? So next is, there is a report I'm going to quote here, a very important report which talks about a GDP, and it says, actually it is a report given by SOCHAM. It says the GDP suffered a decline of 4%. It says there was a study given by SOCHAM, and it said GDP declined by 4% due to what? Due to malnutrition. ठीक है. So to cater malnutrition, to cater anemia, right? These are some of the problems we have to cater, and that is why such schemes like Poshan 2.0, Mission Vatsalya is there in place, right? So I hope the this entire objective is clear to you. Along with this, I have told you that this was Poshan 2.0 was not the real name of this. Before this, it is called Child Protection Services. Child Protection Services. Now the name has been changed to Poshan 2.0, right? And the major aim basically is this only of Mission Vatsalya, which is at securing a healthy and happy childhood for every child in our country, right? And yahan par not just the government sector but also the private sector will be coming up together to make it happen, to make it possible in its basically in its implementation, right? So private sector ka involvement bhi yahan par hame dekhne ko milega. That is all about Mission Vatsalya. Now there is one more thing which is about Mission Vatsalya, and these are some of the components of Mission Vatsalya. The components, if we talk about, first is it will going to help us improve the functioning of the statutory body so that the proper implementation could be done on time. Second would be it is going to strengthen the service delivery services. Next up, it is also going to help upscale the institutional services. ठीक है, institutional या healthcare services जो भी हैं उनको upscale करने में भी the scheme is going to help. Next is it is also going to help in encouraging the non-institutional community, because not just the institutional community is important, also the non-institutional, ताकि एक holistic development हो सके, holistically किसी भी हम problem को cater कर सके, right? Next up is training and capacity building, or you can say training and capacity building of duty holders. So this training part is will also be included in Mission Vatsalya. All right. So this was about Mission Vatsalya, and we have already said कि ये budget में discuss हुआ था. That is why you have to make sure that you remember the scheme. All right. That was all about it. Up next we have PM Daksh Yojana. First of all, the full form itself, क्योंकि बहुत सारे there are times जब आपको, if you know the full forms, there are chances that you can reach to the right answer. So PM Daksh stands for Pradhan Mantri Dakshata और कौशलता संपन्न हितग्राही Yojana. I'm sure this must be very difficult for South Indian people to say it, but that's how it is as of now. You have to read it. There's no other option as of now. Anyways, PM Daksh Yojana. We call it PM Daksh Yojana. What is it about? Again, two questions. The ministry you have to remember. So scheme से related जितने भी questions होते हैं, the first fact you need to remember is which ministry it belongs to, and definitely second would be the purpose of the scheme or the aim or the objective of the scheme, कि ये scheme किस चीज के बारे में है. So यहाँ पर कौशलता आ रहा है. If any of you has any of like little idea about this कौशलता, कौशल means skill. ठीक है, kaushal means skill. So this entire scheme is basically, if in one line, if in very simple words, if I tell you, this scheme is all about skill development. Skill development, right? It is about, talks about skill development. We know there are so many, there are vulnerable sections in our society, and those people, they do not have enough resources to uplift their skill. ठीक है, इतना पैसा या इतना रिसोर्सेज उनके पास नहीं होता that they think about developing their skill. ठीक है, so in order to help them, government takes this initiative again and again. PM Kaushal Yojana bhi pehle aayi thi, that was also for the skill development only. Now PM Daksh is there. So time and again government keep coming up with these initiatives wherein they talk about giving skills to these people. Like for example, handicraft workers हैं, बहुत सारे artisans हैं. Technology आने की वजह से उनका जो काम है वो काफी ज्यादा कम हो गया है. They're not getting that desired market they want. ठीक है, now our government is giving them proper skills so that they can compete with the technology. They can compete in the market. They can stand in the market, right? And definitely to make their livelihoods better. All right, so the context is this only. uh, the youth, owing to their educational backwardness, are finding difficulty to obtain employment with a good compensation after undergoing the short term skill courses. ठीक है, so इसीलिए PM Daksh is there. And about the scheme, if I talk about, it belongs to Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Okay, now who will be the eligible sections under the scheme? So marginalized people, definitely. So marginalized persons of scheduled caste, other backward class, and economically backward classes, definitely, or denotified tribes भी. Along with that, sanitation workers and even women. वुमेन को भी हमने इस में इंक्लूड किया है. वेस्ट पिकर्स हो गए, आपके मैनुअल स्कैवेंजर्स हो गए, अलॉन्ग विद दैट. ठीक है, ट्रांसजेंडर्स हो गए, आर सम ऑफ द कैटेगरीज वी हैव इंक्लूडेड एज द बेनिफिशियरी ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर scheme. All right, so this is PM Daksh scheme. It's a skill development training, and the target groups we have already discussed. तो इतना भी अगर आपको याद रहता है that this scheme belongs to Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and second that it is about skill development. ठीक है, that much only if you remember would be sufficient for your exam. Okay, next is MP Lad scheme. MP Lad scheme a very important और काफी evergreen सा topic है. MP Lad scheme काफी news में रहता है. COVID के time पे भी news में था because there was a suspension in this scheme. This scheme got suspended during COVID. That is why also it was in news, and now also it is in news due to some different reasons. So let us see what is the present reason कि ये news में है, and then we will come up to the static portion of it, जहां पर हम MP Lad scheme के जो भी provisions हैं उनको समझेंगे. So MP Lad scheme सबसे पहले it stands for Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme, right? जहां पर Member of Parliament को अपने local area का development करना होता है. The name of the scheme already defines the purpose of it. All right, but we know COVID-19 pandemic के time पे it got suspended. ठीक है, and after the suspension, now the parliamentary committee on estimates has asked the government कि अब आप 5 करोड़ रुपए you release it for 23 and 24 in this fiscal year, ताकि जो भी unfinished projects हैं उनको हम complete कर सकें. Right? Okay. Now, what is MP Lad scheme? Actually, it started in 1993. So 1993 was the year when it got started by our government, right? Now, the first question would be कि scheme exactly है क्या? Though I have told you कि the entire meaning lies inside the full form of it, but still. So here what happens, that member of parliament, they are assigned a work, or they basically recommend the work in their particular constituency, whatever the work is is needed to be done in their constituency. Like for example, kisi constituency mein there are not enough schools, or there are not enough roads, or there is a lack of electricity. तो जो भी problems हैं उन problems को वहाँ उस constituency का MP cater करेगा, right? And they will recommend the work accordingly, जो भी जरूरत है उनके particular constituencies में. This is the core idea behind MP lad scheme, right? Now the second question would be, okay, हमने बात कर ली MPs के बारे में, but what about the राज्यसभा members जिनकी कोई constituency नहीं होती? So basically what they do, the Rajya Sabha members, if I talk about what they do, जिस भी state से वो elect हुए हैं, they can select any district जहाँ पर उनको लगता है that work is needed to be done, right? They can select any district from that particular state where they have been elected by or from, right? And they can get the work done there. All right. And if you talk about the nominated members, we know nominated members hote hain in both the houses of the parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So nominated members, they can select any particular area or any particular district in the entire country. It's up to them. Okay, so this is about the work they do. And now the second question is about the fund. So who releases the fund? So generally what happens, government of India gives fund to district authorities, और इस district authority में भी who is that authority? District collector. Majorly district collector is that authority जिसको fund मिलता है, and then further आगे district collector distributes the fund to the मतलब आगे he distributes the fund. Okay, so district collector का यहाँ पर काफी ज्यादा important role हो जाता है in case of sanctioning the funds, right? Or you can say sanctioning the eligible work also along with that. Okay? If you talk about the ministry, so MOSPI or Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation is the ministry which formulates this policy. और यहाँ पर 5 crore annually is released. We know this ऐसे 2.5 crore ऐसे installment में ये release होता है ये पैसा, right? So that was all about MP lad scheme. All right, I hope the entire context along with the static portion is clear to you now. Moving ahead with the next scheme, which is midday meal and supplements. Again, important scheme है, काफी evergreen scheme है, काफी time से चलती आ रही है. So initially, if we talk about little bit of historical background of this particular scheme, so it launched in 1995 as a national program of nutritional support. 1995 was the year when it got launched as a national program of nutritional support. Nutritional support. Support to what, or support to whom? To primary education. To primary education. Right? So in 1995, this was the program. Then in 2004, what happened? It got relaunched and we named it as midday meal scheme. Midday meal scheme. This I'm talking about 2004. Then after 2004, we know 2021 में हमने इसको 2021 में हमने इसको पोषण नाम दे दिया है. ठीक है, so this was the chrono or PM portion हमने इसको नाम दे दिया है. So this is the chronology you have to remember. All right, so the proposal came when successive reports, there were many reports which came. There were many successive reports which came and which talked about that there is a high prevalence of malnutrition, anemia, stunting and wasting in our country. So in order to overcome these problems, we came up with these kind of schemes or programs, right? And in fact, national health family survey के बारे में तो आपने सुना होगा, right? It says national family health survey 5, it says that there are 35% of the children are there which are stunted in our country. So 35% stunted hai, this is what this said, and 20% 20% wasted. ठीक है, so these are the problems we are facing. ठीक है, तो ये काफ़ी चैलेंजिंग प्रॉब्लम्स हैं और ये पॉइंट्स आप अपने मेंस के लिए ज़रूर याद रखिएगा. यू कैन डेफिनेटली पुट दीज एग्जाम्पल while you are writing your mains answer, right? So this was about midday meal. So as I've told you, it has renamed as PM Portion. 2021 में हमने इसको रीनेम कर दिया है. सो इनिशियली स्टार्टेड इन 1995, देन 2004 में मिड डे मील केम, एंड देन 2021 में नाउ वी कॉल इट पीएम पोषण, राइट? इट इज अ सेंट्रली स्पॉन्सर्ड स्कीम. आई डोंट थिंक आपको बताने की जरूरत है व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम एंड सेंट्रली स्पॉन्सर्ड स्कीम, बट स्टिल आई टेल यू, सेंट्रल सेक्टर स्कीम इज जहां पर only center is responsible to give the entire fund, and centrally sponsored mein state is also responsible, or state also contributes basically, right? Initially it was launched for students up to class 5, but now it is up to class 8. And which ministry it comes under? So it comes under Ministry of HRD, राइट? कैलोरीज की अगर हम बात करें, कैलोरीज रिक्वायरमेंट जो एक बच्चा होता है ऑफ प्राइमरी ग्रेड्स, एटलीस्ट 450 कैलोरीज इज नीडेड एंड 12 ग्राम ऑफ प्रोटीन इज नीडेड. दिस इज द calories which has been prescribed under this scheme. If we talk about the upper primary children, so the requirement would increases to 700 calories and 20 gram of protein. इसका थोड़ा सा मैं आपको थोड़ा सा और डिटेल में मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगी about these calories and proteins and these things. So here, please see here, for primary classes, the food grains, the requirement is of 100 grams. If we talk about pulses, it is 20 grams. Vegetable should be 50 grams, and then oil and fat should be given 5 grams at least to a child, right? Talking about the upper primary classes, 150 grams food grains, then 30 grams pulses, 75 gram vegetables, and oil and fat should be 7.5 grams at least. This is the basically distribution of the meals, or distribution of the calories, or which should be given to the primary classes students and the upper primary class students, right? And the objective, we all know what could be the objective of this kind of scheme. The objective definitely taki bachcho ka enrollment bade school mein, right? One is this, and definitely attendance, to increase the attendance. And apart from this, I feel the major and the most important is कि overall उनका growth हो. Overall in the sense, the physical growth I'm talking about, उनकी health ठीक रहे, physical growth हो along with the mental growth, right? Next we have attracting child who are reluctant to go to school. Of course, अगर if they'll be given option to go to a school where there is no meal provided, and there is another school where the meal is provided, a child would prefer to go to the school where the meal is provided, right? So this is basically to lure them to the school. Now next is to provide hot cooked meal with high nutritional value. This is definitely to increase the this nutritional component in the food. This scheme we came up with. All right. So that was about it. Up next we have Swanidhi se Samriddhi program. Swanidhi se Samriddhi. So if especially the North Indian people, they must be knowing the meaning of Samriddhi. Samriddhi is something, upliftment, you can say, upliftment or getting better. Samriddhi hona kisi cheez ki, theek hai? So Swanidhi se Samriddhi. Let us first see the context directly. Then I'll tell you what is Swanidhi se Samriddhi, and then first we will also understand what is Swanidhi scheme. There was a Swanidhi scheme, usi ka extension hai ye Swanidhi se Samriddhi, but we'll first understand what is Swanidhi, and then we'll understand the extension, of course. So the union government has launched this program across 14 states, ठीक है? 14 states and UTs. Okay, what is this program all about? Before getting into Swanidhi se Samriddhi, let us first see what is Swanidhi scheme or what is Swanidhi program. आप सबने सुना होगा, Swanidhi program is basically was a micro credit facility. Micro credit, especially during COVID times, कुछ 10-10 हजार रुपए का लोन स्ट्रीट वेंडर्स को दिया गया था. That was under this Swanidhi scheme only. ठीक है? So it is basically a micro credit facility or a micro credit program given to the street vendors, especially COVID के time पे उनका जब चीजें नहीं चल पा रही थी, so just to help them, this loan kind of thing was given to street vendors, right? So this was the basic idea behind PM Swanidhi. Now, next question is, okay, that was PM Swanidhi, but what is Swanidhi se Samriddhi? So here they are talking about giving a holistic upliftment to all the beneficiary of PM Swanidhi scheme. Now, how they are going to do it? How is a major question here कि okay, you have decided कि जो भी beneficiary थे Swanidhi PM Swanidhi scheme में, we are going to holistically uplift them even further, but how are we going to achieve it? So to make it to make it done, we have, or the government has decided for about 8 schemes, कुछ 8 schemes के बारे में decide किया है, right? And what about those 8 schemes? So government has said that these are the 8 schemes. They have given a list that these are the 8 schemes, और इस इन schemes के जो भी benefits हैं will be given to the beneficiary of PM Swanidhi also, ठीक है, to the people or to the beneficiary who were eligible under PM Swanidhi. And what are those 8 schemes? I'm not going to list them out like all of them, but few of the schemes were PM Jandhan Yojana, and it is said again कि जितने भी whatever the provisions or whatever the features of the scheme is will be given to the beneficiaries of PM Swanidhi, I mean those people also, ताकि उनका और better तरीके से development हो सके. Apart from PM this PM Jandhan Yojana, ठीक है, apart from PM Jandhan Yojana, there were many other schemes, like for example uh, PM, you can say, there was a scheme for insurance. What was the name? Suraksha Bima Yojana. Suraksha Bima. Bima is insurance, ठीक है? Suraksha Bima Yojana. So this was the another scheme. इसमें भी जितने भी benefits हैं वो PM Swanidhi के जो beneficiaries हैं उनको भी at the same time मिलेंगे. Apart from that, PM Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana. Right, apart from PM Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana, one could be the another, I think, was PM Matru Vandana Yojana, which was for mothers, right? So these were some of the schemes. Though there are 8 schemes, I'm not going to list them out, all of them. You can read them. But the major thing you need to understand here, the major concept or the major idea behind this was Swanidhi से समृद्धि was this only कि ये जितने भी 8 schemes हैं इनके benefits जो हैं वो स्वनिधि वाले लोगों को भी, स्वनिधि वाले बेनिफिशरीज को भी हम पहुंचाएंगे ताकि उनका एक, इट इज रिटन ऑल्सो हियर सो दैट the holistic development and socio and economic upliftment could be there of the beneficiaries which are covered under PM Swanidhi Yojana or the street vendors directly. All right. So this was about Swanidhi se Samriddhi program. Up next, we have a next topic belongs to economy, and the first topic is fortified rice. Again, important topic है, मेंस पर्सपेक्टिव से काफी इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है, जहां पर आपको malnutrition के बारे में अगर कुछ लिखना आ जाता है तो इन द सजेशंस यू कैन मेंशन फॉर अबाउट fortified rice, या फिर न्यूट्रिशन के बारे में कोई क्वेश्चन आ जाता है, यू कैन डेफिनेटली कोट fortified rice as one of the recommendations or the suggestions, ठीक है, to deal with malnutrition or to increase the nutritional quality of the food. Okay, so fortified rice, basically हमें पता है that our country has a high level of malnutrition among women and children, ठीक है, and I have just told you a while ago that every I think third uh, every third child is stunted. I'm sorry, okay, let me just, stunted, and every second woman is anemic in our country. तो डेफिनेटली कुछ तो प्रॉब्लम है और सोल्यूशन भी चाहिए इसका. ओके, सो सोल्यूशन के ही तौर पे फोर्टिफाइड राइस इज वन ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम. सो रिसेंटली यूनियन कैबिनेट ने अप्रूव भी किया है of the scheme to distribute fortified rice under the government programs. Now, what was the need वैसे one of the needs was this only कि stunting, wasting or anemic malnutrition ये सब बहुत ज़्यादा है, तो this was the need. Again, apart from this is a fact which you can quote. Very important fact कि India ranks 94 out of 107 countries in the serious hunger category. We comes under serious hunger category. ठीक है, तो न्यूट्रिशन बढ़ाना और हंगर मिटाना ये सब चीजें we have to make sure that we achieve these things. But now the next question is ki, okay, we've understood the need, we've understood that what has happened recently, but what is this food fortification? What is all that you're talking about? Food fortification, in very lucid manner, in very simple words, in very simple language, food fortification का मतलब होता है that adding nutrition, adding minerals, adding vitamins to the food, right? Simple, through various process that we are not going into. Okay, so basically to make the food more nutritious, to add more vitamins to it, to add more minerals to it, that is what food fortification, to make it more rich basically. Okay, so that it can definitely cater our nutritional needs, help boost our immunity and all of that. ठीक है, fortified rice if we talk about, so FSSAI के rules के हिसाब से 1 kg of fortified rice will contain iron, how much, 28 mg to 42.5 mg, and it will apart from that it will also contain folic acids, which is 75 to 125 micrograms, along with vitamin B12, which would be 0.75 to 1.25 micrograms. Now the next question is, what are the benefits of it? So we're doing it definitely because there are so many benefits of it, though this is very easy to write key benefits kya kya ho sakte hai, but still I'll just list down some of the benefits of fortified rice. So these are the benefits of fortified rice. First benefit would be no health risk. There wouldn't be any health risk when we eat fortified rice. कोई health risk इसमें नहीं होगा, or you can say it is a safe method, right? It is a safe method. Okay, the next benefit of fortified rice could be that it is cost effective. And the third, and I personally feel that this is the most important one. ठीक है, अगर हमें किसी भी चीज को acceptance है, हम if we accept something, ठीक है, if there is new technology in the market, if there is no new gadget in the market, if there is new kind of food in the market, I feel if we accept it, if we are able to accept it somehow, then only it is considered to be, you know, you can say useful, right? So yes, that acceptance would be there. Acceptance is there. Why acceptance is there? Because there is no color change. कोई when we are making them fortified, कोई color change नहीं हो रहा है. There is no taste में भी कोई change नहीं हो रहा है. Or you can say no change in taste, just make it a correct sentence. So there is no change in the taste, there is no change in the color, so everything is same, तो हमें वो acceptable easily है. Suppose अगर कोई अलग taste का चावल आ जाता, right, so it would have been difficult for us to accept such food, right? But it is very much acceptable in the society, hence it's a good thing. It'll make the work done, it'll get the work done, right? So this was about some of the benefits and about the entire topic. This was about the entire topic, fortified rice. Up next we have next topic, which is 2+2 format of dialogue. So what is 2+2? So 2+2 ka general matlab hai, and where this 2+2 came from. 2+2 means two ministers of one country plus two ministers of other country. This is the simplest way you can understand it through. So two ministers of a particular country and another two ministers of the other country, they'll be coming up together, they'll be sitting up together, they'll be discussing things together. That is why we call it 2+2, कि दो ministers एक country से आएंगे, दो ministers दूसरी country से आएंगे, they will discuss the things and they'll come to a conclusion. Okay, so recently 2+2 टॉक्स हमारे हुए हैं यूएस के साथ, ठीक है, वॉशिंगटन डीसी में. बट 2+2 अगर जनरली हम बात करें, इन जनरल टर्म्स इफ वी टॉक अबाउट 2+2 डायलॉग, सो इट हैपेंस विद द अलाइज, विद अलाइज, कुछ अलाइज होते हैं हर एक कंट्री के, सो उन्हीं के साथ जो है ये 2+2 डायलॉग्स होते हैं. बट so this is a format of meeting of foreign and defense ministers of India and its allies, ठीक है, and its allies on strategic and security issues. तो जितने भी हमारे 2+2 dialogues अब तक हो चुके हैं, all of them they all have like the countries if we talk about किनके साथ हो चुके हैं, that is US, Australia, Japan and Russia. US, Australia, Japan and India we know कि are the quad members. तो रशिया को छोड़ के ये तीनों जो हैं quad members हैं, right? These are the quad members, right? What are the members? US plus Australia plus Japan plus India. These are the 4 members which makes up quad grouping. Quad हमें पता है is not an formal alliance. ये कोई formal alliance नहीं है. It is a very informal group or informal forum of the maritime democracies wherein these 4 leaders came together to discuss the maritime issues or to provide a security to the uh, uh, to the uh, uh, to the sea, or you can say kind of maritime security that talks about. This is the formal objective of this. Side में एक informal objective भी है quad group का, which is to limit the might of what? Which country? China. To limit the might of China, especially in the Indian Ocean region and the surrounding regions, right? So this was about quad. Now, what are the outcomes of 2+2 dialogue? इससे पहले भी 2+2 dialogues हुए हैं. This was the 4th dialogue which happened between India and US. इससे पहले जो 3 dialogues हुए हैं उसमें भी काफी ज्यादा outcomes निकले हैं. Like for example, लिमोआ, ठीक है, कॉम कासा, बेका, ये सब कुछ outcomes हैं. Now, if we talk about these, LIMOA, which is Logistic Exchange Memorandum of Agreement. This came in 2016. This basically gives both the countries access to military facilities. So I'll just write down all of the outcomes. LIMOA. So it gives military access to both the countries, right? This happened between India and US, right? So it gave the military facilities, or you can say, don't write access, write facility, military facilities to both the countries and both the sides, right? Next was Comcasa. So this was basically to transfer the communication. I'll just write it here. Comcasa to transfer the communication equipments from US to India. ये उसके लिए था, right? Now lastly we have BECA, which stands for what? Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement. Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement, we call it BECA. ये किस लिए था? This will basically give our military with a high quality GPS, and this was also a mission with the real-time intelligence. This will was a mission with real-time intelligence भी ये हमें देगा, so that we can cater any adversaries, right? And along with that, GPS facilities also we're going to get through this, right? Or you can say the high quality GPS qualities, GPS technology, right? For the military, of course. Okay, so these were the previous outcomes of this. Now I hope now it is clear to you ki 2+2 dialogues kya hota hai. All right, so this was about 2+2. Up next we have again a very very important topic, and one of the favorite and one of the most favorite topics of UPSC, the मिडल ईस्ट एरिया. ठीक है, वहीं से एक टॉपिक है गोलन हाइट्स. विल अंडरस्टैंड थ्रू विल अंडरस्टैंड इट थ्रू मैप, क्योंकि ऐसे आई फील ऐसे टॉपिक्स बिना मैप के आप नहीं पढ़ सकते, एंड यू शुड नॉट इवन थिंक ऑफ प्रिपेयरिंग सच टॉपिक्स विदाउट मैप. सो कॉन्टेक्स्ट समझ लेते हैं. एक्चुअली देर इज नो कॉन्टेक्स्ट, देर इज जस्ट इट इज जस्ट अबाउट द गोलन हाइट्स. ठीक है, विल अंडरस्टैंड वेयर इज इट सिचुएटेड, what is the entire issue, what is this issue between Israel and Syria. We'll understand everything, so don't worry. Let me first take you to the map. So this is the map, very very important map. इसमें बहुत सारी चीजें mention है. I want all of you to take a screenshot of it. A very important map. So यहाँ से शुरू करते हैं. You can see this is India. I'm sure all of you can see here. So when we move towards this side, यहाँ पर अगर हम चलते हैं, we'll see Saudi Arabia, Yemen और Oman, and this is a very important water body, Red Sea, right? Here you will see, यहाँ पर आपको UAE दिखेगा, this portion I'm talking about, right? Qatar यहाँ पर आपको दिखेगा, this is Bahrain, and then Kuwait you will see, okay? This is Iran, Afghanistan, bordering India, right? Now ये आपको अफ्रीकन पार्ट में ले आएगा. Now this is entire Middle East, and today we are going to talk about this part wherein you can see Syria, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon. मैं आपको ये zoom करके भी, and Israel, of course. How can we forget this? The entire issue pertaining to this particular topic is between Israel and Syria only. So how can you forget Israel? I'm going to zoom this map into, so don't worry. As of now, just look at this bigger map. This is Mediterranean Sea. यहाँ पर very very important topic. You can put as many stars as you want on Mediterranean Sea because they will ask you question. UPSC का favorite sea है Mediterranean Sea. They'll ask you the countries bordering it and all those who have, so you have to prepare it thoroughly. ब्लैक सी आपको यहाँ पर दिख रहा होगा. ब्लैक सी के अगर आपको बॉर्डरिंग कंट्रीज याद करने हैं, सो देयर इज अ ट्रिक टू रिमेंबर इट. आई विल जस्ट राइट दैट ट्रिक फॉर यू. ब्लैक सी, so it is, the trick is BURGER, call it burger. So B stands for Bulgaria. Bulgaria is the country which borders it. Then Ukraine borders it. Ukraine borders it. Russia borders it. We all know this. GE stands for Georgia, right? And this R, the another R stands for Romania, right? And apart from this, there is another country which borders it, which is Turkey. ये आपको अलग से याद रखने की जरूरत है. You can also see this into the map. Turkey यहाँ पर इसको border कर रहा है. So that is the trick you can remember it with. So both of these very very important seas you have to keep in mind, right? So this was a bigger map. Now let me take you into a closer look of it. This thing, this area I was talking about, this is Israel. यहाँ पर आपको Sea of Galilee देखने को मिलेगा. This is Jordan River you will find here, and Lebanon you will see here, right? This is Damascus, capital of which country? Capital of Syria, right? Now this area today we are going to study Golan Heights. ठीक है, this area we will be studying today, Golan Heights. Golan Heights में अगर आपको ये वाला area जो दिखेगा, the area which I'm shading, this is the area which is under UN control, and it also act as a buffer between Syria and Israel. ठीक है, ताकि इन दोनों में लड़ाई ना हो, इसीलिए यूएन के पास, यूएन ने ये वाला एक छोटा सा एरिया, बॉर्डरिंग एरिया, गोलन हाइट्स का बॉर्डरिंग एरिया कंट्रोल करा हुआ है, एंड इट एक्ट एज अ बफर, एज आई हैव टोल्ड यू, टू अवॉइड द फाइट बिटवीन द टू स्टेट्स और द टू कंट्रीज, राइट? नाउ गोलन हाइट्स, the first question arises ki why this region is so important that people fight for it, the countries are fighting for it. Two important reasons. First is it is situated at a elevated पोर्शन, ठीक है, एक हाइट पे सिचुएटेड है. सो सपोज इफ एनी कंट्री वांट, अगर किसी तरीके की फाइट किसी को करनी करनी है, तो बॉम्बिंग के लिए, शेलिंग के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है ऐसे एरिया पे बैठना आपको, ठीक है. आप ऊपर रह के नीचे आप बॉम्बार्डिंग और वो सब कर सकते हो, तो स्ट्रेटेजिकली ये काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है. सेकेंड, देर आर वाटर रिसोर्सेज प्रेजेंट इन दिस एरिया. तो काफी अच्छे वाटर रिसोर्सेज यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट हैं, और हमें पता है द इंटायर मिडल ईस्ट और ये पूरा एरिया वाटर स्कैसिटी यहाँ पर काफी देखने को मिलती है. एंड area which is rich in water resources becomes automatically important, and like important for the rest of the countries surrounding it. Okay, so that is why it is important. ठीक है, important क्यों है ये हमें समझ आ गया, but what is that fight and what is the entire issue? ठीक है, so the issue basically हमें पता है 1967 was the year which you have to remember the fight between Israel and Syria. ठीक है, so 1967 was the year, and 1967 से पहले this Golan Heights, before 1967 Golan Heights belongs to Syria. But what happened after, I mean, in at 1967 6-day war, you all must have heard of 6-day war, which happened between two parties. One was Israel. Sorry for the spelling. Just a second. Yeah, Israel plus three countries, which is Egypt, Syria, and one more country, and you have to tell me which was that third country. Tell me. It was Jordan. ठीक है, तो these three countries were together and they were opposing Israel. ठीक है, but फिर भी Israel won. Israel जीत गया, and Israel occupied some of the territories, and among those territories Golan Heights was one of them. ठीक है, one of those territories was Golan Heights, which Israel occupied after this war. Simple, easy to understand. Okay, तो तभी से इजराइल ने इसको ऑक्यूपाई किया हुआ है. ठीक है, सो नाउ नॉट लीगली एक्चुअली, बट नाउ इट बिलोंग्स टू इजराइल. अगर हम इंटरनेशनल रिकग्निशन की बात करें, सो इंटरनेशनल रिकग्निशन की बात करें ऑफ गोलन हाइट्स, तो इंटरनेशनल रिकग्निशन किसी भी कंट्री ने इसको नहीं दिया हुआ एक्सेप्ट US. When Trump administration was there, now it is not there, but when it was there back in 2019, I'm talking about, they give recognition that Golan Heights belong to Israel, not to Syria. So US was the only state in 2019 which gave this recognition to Golan Heights, that it belongs to Israel. Apart from this, if we talk about European Union, if we talk about Arab League, or in India also for that matter, we do not recognize Golan Heights as Israel's territory. ठीक है, so this international recognition also you have to remember. Basically, you have to remember the sides of the of the other countries on this particular issue, right? So this was all about this topic. I hope this map thing is clear to you. You have to remember कि इजराइल यहाँ पर है, इसको हम पूरा वेस्ट बैंक बोलते हैं. जेरूसलम यहाँ पर सिचुएटेड है, इस पे भी जेरूसलम एंड टेल अवीव करके वो जो कैपिटल वाला इशू था, वो भी ट्रम्प के एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में काफ़ी ज़्यादा रहा था. उस टाइम पे भी ये वाला पूरा एरिया भी न्यूज़ में था. एंड देन दिस इज गाजा स्ट्रिप, सिनाई पेनिनसुला है ये, राइट? सो all these areas you have to remember. Okay, and definitely this also which I've told you, along with the seas बहुत important है यहाँ पर, be it Red Sea or Black Sea or Mediterranean Sea or Caspian Sea. ठीक है, all the seas or the water bodies are very very important here. Okay, चलिए, moving ahead with the next topic, Gilgit Baltistan, again a very controversial topic. Gilgit basically is a tributary of which river? Tributary of इंडस रिवर. और बल्तिस लोग यहाँ पर रहते हैं, इसको हम बल्तिस्तान भी बोलते हैं. सो गिलगित बल्तिस्तान, द नेम derived from there, right? Now what is the issue? So recently we have seen a protest in the valley, and the protest basically is because of, क्योंकि वहाँ पर कुछ people are protesting there because Pakistan government has issued licenses to private contractors for mining gems there. That is why people are protesting there. This was one reason. There were another reason. कुछ न्यूज़ में ये भी आया था that Pakistan is giving some of the territory of this region to China on lease. ठीक है, तो this was also another reason जिसकी वजह से people were protesting in this region. But talking about the current status of Gilgit Baltistan, ये एक autonomous region है. This is one of the provinces of this will be basically the fifth province of the country. उससे पहले पाकिस्तान के अभी 4 provinces हैं, बलोचिस्तान, खैबर पख्तूनवा, पंजाब एंड सिंध. सो ये illegally occupied है. If we talk about the position of it, the location of it borders China in the north, Afghanistan in the west, and Kashmir in the southeast. Let me just show this to you in the map. So as you can see here, this is Afghanistan bordering India, of course, and this is the region we are talking about. Okay, this is Gilgit-Baltistan. This is Pakistan occupied area. Okay, this is our Jammu and Kashmir. As you can see here, this is Kashmir and this is Jammu. ठीक है, यहाँ पर आपको लद्दाख देखने को मिलेगा. Siachen Glacier, again a very important point to be noted here. UPSC has asked question over Siachen Glacier in 2020. ठीक है, this is Aksai Chin. Chinese has occupied them. Okay, so this is the map you have to remember. This is Xinjiang province of चाइना, जिसमें उइगुर मुस्लिम्स की वजह से भी ये काफ़ी न्यूज़ में रहता है. सो दिस location also you can see in the map over here. If we talk about the present status of it, so the area is currently under occupation of Pakistan, which is in violation. ठीक है, as I'm saying, it is illegal. So it is in violation of the United Nations Commission for India and Pakistan resolution, which happened in 1949 April में. ठीक है, and this occupation took place without the consent of the people of Gilgit-Baltistan. So this is also again a very very important point to be noted here. Despite कि जो UNCIP था, they called for Pakistan to withdraw its forces from this area, but ये अभी तक ऐसा कुछ हुआ नहीं है. So again, they have been violating things here, and for over 60 years now the area of Gilgit-Baltistan has lacked a proper constitutional status. They lack a proper constitutional status. तो कुछ legal चीज़ों की, constitutional चीज़ों की भी यहाँ पर काफ़ी ज़्यादा कमी है. They do not have any proper constitutional framework of things over here in this region, right? So this was about this topic. Moving ahead with the next topic. Now the next topic belongs to science and technology, and a very first topic comes up with a new technology, which is flex fuel. सबसे पहले यहाँ पर flex का मतलब है flexible, right? So this flex is flexible. Now what is this flexible fuel vehicle is? ठीक है, what is this entire technology? I have a video to demonstrate how exactly this flex fuel vehicle works. But before that, let us just understand few basic things about flex fuel vehicles. So Indian Sugar Mill Association has called for the faster launch of flex fuel to achieve 20% of ethanol blending. हम सबको पता है our government is of the vision that we have to achieve 20% ethanol blending in petrol, ठीक है, by 2024. And in order to achieve the same, we are coming up with such vehicles which can help us implement it, right? Now the major question which arises here is, what is this flex fuel vehicle? ठीक है, तो flex fuel basically एक vehicle है which could be run both on gasoline, which is petrol, or doped petrol. Doped petrol means, see, there could be two things which can be used. Petrol, let me just take you to a new slide for your better understanding. तो यहाँ पर we can either use petrol, ठीक है, or we can use ethanol blended petrol plus, or you can say methanol, put a slash here, blended petrol. So this is one fuel we can use, and this is the second fuel we can use, ठीक है, and that is why we call it dual, or you can say dual, or you can say we also call it what? Dual fuel vehicle, क्योंकि हम यहाँ पर दो फ्यूल को यूज कर सकते हैं. Now The next question which could come to your mind is कि अभी भी तो ये ऐसे ही है, like in the same car we use CNG also and we use petrol also. No, see, there is a difference between the CNG plus petrol and flex fuels. What is the major difference? Difference ये है कि अभी यहाँ पर सेम जगह पर या सेम टैंक में आप नहीं यूज कर सकते हो. There is no same tank. We have different cylinders. गाड़ी में different cylinders होते हैं for CNG and we have a different tank for petrol. But flex fuels में same tank होगा where we can put both the fuels. ठीक है? So this is a new technology that ways, right? Okay. Coming back, what are the benefits? What are some of the benefits? Again, it will be cheaper, right? So this alternative fuel technology will be 60 to 62 rupees per liter, और पेट्रोल का रेट तो हमें पता ही है, so it will be cheaper that wise, right? Apart from this ethanol blended program जो हमने चलाया हुआ है 2024 तक, जो अचीव करनी है 20% चीजें, उसमें भी it is going to help us. Apart from this, it will also ensure that increase of biofuel for vehicles will be used. बायोफ्यूल्स को हम यूज करें ज्यादा से ज्यादा, उसमें भी हेल्प करेगा. पोल्यूशन को कम करने में भी ये हेल्प करेगा. ठीक है, इट विल हेल्प अस रिड्यूसिंग दी पोल्यूशन फ्रॉम आवर एनवायरमेंट. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, फॉसिल फ्यूल्स का यूसेज भी हम कहीं ना कहीं कम करेंगे, राइट? सो this was these were some of the benefits, but along with the benefits, एक चीज है which you can call it as a concern is a lot of time we have seen the problem of acceptance. So acceptance would be a problem here. We know कि अभी recently we have also came up with e-vehicles. ठीक है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक व्हीकल्स के साथ भी हम आए हैं. So people won't be really acceptable towards flex fuels. Why? Because जब बहुत सारी टेक्नोलॉजीज आ जाती हैं तो थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है for people to, it becomes little challenging for people to accept things that easily. Apart from this, माइलेज का भी प्रॉब्लम होता है. ठीक है, फ्लेक्स फ्यूल जैसे में या फिर जब हम बायोफ्यूल से व्हेन वी रन अ कार, माइलेज का प्रॉब्लम होता है, माइलेज कम आता है. एंड वी नो अगर माइलेज का प्रॉब्लम होता है तो लोग वैसे भी, पीपल आर रिलेक्टेंट टू बाय सच व्हीकल. सो दिस कुड बी वन ऑफ द issues around this technology, right? So now let me take you to that video I was telling you, which will demonstrate the entire thing around flex fuel technology. Okay, yeah, just have a look at it.
Almost all the car manufacturers across the globe are already in the race of researching and developing an alternative fuel for engines running on petrol and diesel. During this electric vehicle revolution, the flex engines are also getting popular in some countries. So, what is a flex engine? A flex fuel engine is an internal combustion engine. This engine has the feature to run on more than one fuel or even a mixture of fuels. Generally, a mixture of petrol with ethanol or methanol is used in these types of engines. Flex fuel vehicles are therefore not the same as bi-fuel vehicles, which have separate tanks for each different fuel type they use. Like a car that runs on petrol as well as CNG are termed as bi-fuel. The fuel tank and CNG cylinder are different. That makes sense. The flex engine can adjust the mixture in any quantity that is provided, which is mainly due to the suitable ECU programming and fuel composition sensor. What if we say an engine that runs on regular petrol can also run on flex fuel? Yes, that is correct. With the help of slight modifications, any car with spark ignition engine can run on flex fuel. The modifications include a couple of additional sensors in the fuel tank. These sensors can detect the percentage of ethanol in the fuel, and its microprocessors adjust the fuel injection and timing. Why flex fuel? A flex fuel contains anywhere from 15 to 85% ethanol. Ethanol burns cleaner than gasoline, which means flex fuel cars pump fewer toxic fumes into the environment. Flex fuel also contributes fewer greenhouse gases, making it a more environmentally friendly option than traditional gasoline. And ethanol is sustainably produced from ingredients such as cane sugar and corn. This makes ethanol a good alternative for countries which are largely depending on foreign oil. While it's great that flex fuel can be sustainably produced using corn and sugar, its production comes with a downside. Because any crops that are made available for fuel production cannot be used for any other use. This could lead to higher prices for products like animal feed that could otherwise be derived from them. Corn, in particular, is a labor-intensive crop to cultivate and is prone to drought, bad weather conditions, and disease. So when corn price rises, gradually the fuel price will also rise. One of the main concerns about driving a flex fuel car is its gas mileage. While some experts assert that flex fuel vehicles have similar mileage as regular fuel-powered vehicles, others claim they have lower gas mileage. While ethanol does raise a vehicle's octane level, it contains less energy. In other words, it will take 1.5 times more to provide the same energy levels. So, yes, you will get fewer miles per gallon using ethanol. However, ethanol costs less than regular gasoline, so the savings should more than offset the mileage loss. The debates surrounding the pros and cons of flex fuel and flex fuel vehicles aren't going away anytime soon. However, there does seem to be a move toward using ethanol as an environmentally friendly and economical fuel source. More ethanol refining plants are opening up. And even if you're not ready to transition to a flex fuel vehicle yet, it's something to keep in mind for the future. Technology is always changing, so there's no way to predict what flex fuel vehicles and advances could emerge over the next few years.
So I hope all the remaining doubts regarding flex fuels is clear to you now. Now, we have read about the disadvantages also, the customer acceptance, and it cost more on everything. This was a paper cutting wherein our Minister Nitin Gadkari also asked the auto manufacturers to expedite the rollout, uh, rollout of flex fuel variants. Anyways, so that was all about flex fuel. Next, up next, we have next topic, which is James Webb Space Telescope. You all must have heard of Hubble, whatever you call it, a telescope. उसी को complement करते हुए there is this new telescope which have been there in news, James Webb Space Telescope. It is a joint venture between NASA and European and Canadian Space Agency. So this is again a factual point. You have to remember that it is not only the project of NASA. This is a joint venture between NASA, European Union, and Canadian Agency. So three parties are involved in it. So what is it all about? So basically, it is an orbiting infrared observatory. So this infrared, you have to remember कि कौन से spectrum, which spectrum it uses, which light it uses. So infrared, right? That will complement the Hubble Space Telescope, right? And what is the major objective of this? The scientists hope that this can detect the light from a very first population of stars in the universe. ठीक है, so this is basically the objective of it. जो आपको याद रखना है, let me just take you to a picture of it wherein you will see कि ये sun shield है, ये sun shield है, एंड दिस इज द मिरर, एंड दिस इज द मिरर जो कि पूरा आपकी जो लाइट्स को है वो डिटेक्ट करेगा. सो दिस इस मिरर का ही मेजर काम है, राइट. दिस विल बी, this is an equipment which is going to work and which is going to get the desired results. But is मिरर को टू ऑपरेट इट नीड्स अ कूलर टेम्परेचर. और यहाँ पर इसीलिए ये सन की शील्ड हम लगाते हैं, सो दैट दिस मिरर कुड बी प्रोवाइडेड विद अ कूलर टेम्परेचर टू ऑपरेट and to get the desired results. So this is the primary mirror, these are the scientific instruments, right. And this is basically the shield, the sunscreen you can say, okay, or the sunshade you can say. And this is the secondary mirror. तो ये mirrors का ही जो है basically काम होता है to detect the light. All right, so this was about James telescope, James Webb Space Telescope, right. Next topic belongs to environment, and the very first topic belongs to a species. Species pertaining topic may, there are just two three things you have to remember. First, where exactly the species belongs to, and second thing you have to remember their status कि क्या है वो, critically endangered है, vulnerable है. So IUCN status you need to remember. So first, what has happened, the Indian tent turtle, the name is listed in the Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, and thereby provided the highest degree of protection. This has been provided with the highest degree of protection. If we talk about the male and the female, so male are the smaller than female is particular species में, ठीक है. And where all it has been founded, so India, Nepal, Bangladesh is quite similar to the Indian, and it is also quite similar to the Indian roof turtle, as you can see in the picture, right. So India, Nepal, Bangladesh is the range where it has been found. Next, if you talk about IUCN status, like I've told you, so it is low, it is at lower risk. So recently abhi yahi hua hai, Union Ministry of Environment, they have said that parliament in the parliament that there are no reports that indicate ki jo ye turtle hai is on the verge of extinction. तो यही इसीलिए ये न्यूज में था. बट ऑल यू हैव टू रिमेंबर इज जस्ट दीज टू थ्री पॉइंट्स, इसका IUCN स्टेटस वगैरह, नथिंग मोर देन दैट. अप नेक्स्ट वी हैव कोल गैसिफिकेशन, अगेन अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट topic to be understood. More than the, see, there are certain topics जिसमें context ज़्यादा important होता है. There are certain topics जिसमें उस टॉपिक के बारे में समझना ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, और द लॉजिक बिहाइंड, और द टेक्नोलॉजी इफ इट इज रिलेटेड विद certain kind of technology. So to understand the technology and the process and everything behind it is very important. यहाँ पर कोल गैसिफिकेशन को समझना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. So Jindal Steel and Power Limited ने they have opened this coal gasification plant, which would be the second plant in our country. यहाँ पर छत्तीसगढ़ में इन्होंने ओपन किया है, राइट. बट व्हाट इज कोल गैसिफिकेशन? कोल गैसिफिकेशन एज द नेम इंडिकेट, कोल से गैस प्रोड्यूस करना, ठीक है. कोल गैसिफिकेशन, कोल से गैस प्रोड्यूस करना. एक होता है ट्रेडिशनल कोल यूज करना, एक होता है कोल से गैस प्रोड्यूस करके फिर उसको यूज करना, राइट. इसके बहुत सारे बेनिफिट्स भी होते हैं. इट इज मोर एनवायरमेंटल फ्रेंडली दैन द ट्रेडिशनल कोल, ठीक है. दैट इज वाई वी डू इट. वी डू कोल गैसिफिकेशन, वी डू कोल लिक्विफिकेशन. ये सब चीजें हम इसीलिए करते हैं. All right, so it is a process basically to produce the syngas. I'm going to tell you the entire process. Again, I have a video for you, आपकी better understanding के लिए कि syngas को हम कैसे produce करते हैं. We put it under a particular temperature and a pressure so that the syngas is produced. And syngas basically is what? Synthetic gas. Syn is a synthetic gas which is a mixture of many gases. For example, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, methane, ठीक है. So water vapors, ये इन सब का mixture होती है, okay. और गैसिफिकेशन के टाइम पे coal is blown with oxygen and steam while it is also being heated under high pressure. Like I've told you, we put it under a pressure, a high pressure and a high temperature, so that syngas is produced and we can further use it for our whatever purposes we are using. और इसके बहुत सारे benefits भी हैं, ठीक है. benefits majorly वही है कि थोड़ा environment friendly होता है, थोड़ा better होता है, right. So these are some of the benefits. Pollution वाला benefit है कि इट विल कॉज लेस पोल्यूशन. अलॉन्ग विद दैट कंसर्न्स भी हैं. कंसर्न मेजरली ये है कि इसमें जो CO2 है वो ज़्यादा प्रोड्यूस हो जाता है, तो CO2 अगेन इज हार्मफुल फॉर द इन्वायरमेंट. सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द कंसर्न्स. बट कोल गैसिफिकेशन का प्रोसेस हम एक बार ही देख लेते हैं, हाउ एग्जैक्टली वी प्रोड्यूस सिन गैस थ्रू इट. सो दिस वीडियो इज फॉर यू, हैव अ लुक एट इट प्लीज.
Into synthesis gas while the coal remains deep underground. Syngas can be easily converted into liquid fuels, synthetic natural gas, and for power generation. UCG enables deep coals that are not suitable for conventional mining to be Once the well has been drilled, steel casing and special high-temperature cement are installed from surface to the coal seam to ensure isolation from any groundwater aquifers. The injection well is then drilled horizontally in the coal seam to intersect the production well. The well is drilled along the bottom of the coal seam in order to maximize the amount of coal converted into gas. A coiled tubing unit is rigged up over the injection well in preparation for startup of the gasifier. The injection well is connected to surface facilities and the oxidant supply equipment. The UCG surface facilities are of modular design. To start the UCG process, an ignition tool is connected to the coiled tubing and inserted into the injection well. The ignition tool then travels through the injection well and is positioned ready for ignition. Heat generated from the ignition tool and the oxygen pumped from the surface start the coal gasification process. The startup sequence only takes a couple of hours. Sustained gas production is achieved by pumping large quantities of oxygen into the well. The gasification process involves the carbon from the coal reacting with steam to form carbon monoxide and hydrogen. The UCG site is chosen very carefully in order to ensure that the high temperature zone is contained within the coal seam. The byproducts of the UCG process remain behind within the coal seam as ash. The syngas, which contains a high percentage of carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and methane, flows from the gasification chamber through the horizontal connection in the coal seam and up the production well. Syngas is piped to a nearby plant for conversion into liquid fuels such as diesel and jet fuel, synthetic natural gas, chemicals, or power production. The process is repeated along the length of the injection well, converting all the coal in the vicinity of the well into syngas. In commercial operations, multiple gasifiers are operating
It made sense to
simultaneously
me.
to produce the required syngas and produce very large quantities of energy from a small footprint. There are many benefits to UCG, including access to deep stranded coal without the need for mining, higher energy intensity than other processes, minimal surface disturbance, no people underground. After UCG operations have ceased, the site is then decommissioned in a controlled manner and returned.
So that was all about the process of coal gasification. I hope you'll be able to connect with it. You were able to connect with it. So just remember the process. Anything could be asked from this process in your examination. Next topic we have is Bengal coast faces most erosion. Bengal coast faces most erosion. Recently, there was a Ministry of Earth and Sciences. They've said that जितनी भी हमारी कोस्ट लाइन है which is around 6,907 kilometers, about 34% of it is under varying degree of erosion. So this erosion is becoming a big problem these days. This is what Ministry of Earth and Sciences has stated. And along with that, 26% of the coastline is of an accreting nature, and the remaining 40% जो है वो एक stable state में है. चलो ठीक है, but 34%, this is the major cause of a concern, which is undergoing great degree of erosion. Okay, now before that, you need to understand that what are the causes and what are the impacts of erosion. If you talk about certain causes causes of erosion causes of erosion, तो कॉजेज की अगर हम बात करें, सो कॉजेज इंक्लूड्स, द फर्स्ट थिंग इज वेव इरोजन. वेव की वजह से जो इरोजन हम फेस करते हैं, wave erosion, the first category could be your wave erosion. I'll just briefly point out some of the things which are the reason behind erosion. Wave erosion is one. Natural factors could be the second reason, like for example cyclone. ठीक है, साइक्लोन की वजह से भी इरोजन टेक्स प्लेस एट टाइम. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, अपार्ट फ्रॉम साइक्लोन, देयर इज ऑल्सो अ थर्मल thermal expansion. Thermal expansion of what? Of sea water, जिसकी वजह से land gets eroded, right? So this is one thing. Another thing could be sand mining. We know these days a lot of sand mining is taking place, due to which the land is getting eroded. Sand mining, along with that, coral mining is also a new thing which is taking place. कोरल माइनिंग, ये काफी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है जो आपसे एक पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक के फॉर्म में भी आ सकता है, दैट व्हाट इज कोरल माइनिंग, व्हाट आर इट्स सॉल्यूशंस, व्हाट आर द प्रॉब्लम्स एंड व्हाट द कॉजेज ऑफ कोरल माइनिंग, व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज हैपनिंग बिकॉज ऑफ दिस, एंड ऑफ कोर्स द कंक्लूजन एट द एंड यू हैव टू end your answer with. So sand mining and coral mining, again the very one of the major reasons behind it. उसके अलावा आप बोल सकते हो heavy rainfall. You can jot these points out. Heavy rainfall could be the one reason. उसके अलावा dam construction. Dams construction. Especially where जो dams का जो construction होता है, especially where in the catchment area. In the catchment area is one of the potential reason behind the erosion, right? So these are some of the causes. Now if we talk about causes, हमने देख लिया, but अगर हम impact की बात करें, impact of erosion, first would be loss of habitat, और I think ये सबसे बड़ी चीज है, along with of course the loss of marine organisms. Definitely we can never ignore the threat the marine organisms are facing. So loss of habitat, वहाँ के लोगों को displace होना पड़ता है due to erosion. This is definitely a very big thing. Then you can say loss of infrastructure. Loss of infrastructure. Loss of infra, like for example roads कई बारी टूट जाते हैं, ठीक है, रोड्स का roads get impacted because of erosion. Apart from road, there are power lines which gets impacted due to the erosion. The third would be degradation. Degradation of coral reefs. Degradation of coral reefs, एक impact ये हो सकता है. Next would be there would be a reduction in the production of fish. तो fish production में, and I feel all of them is going to take or dig a big toll on our economy. ठीक है, तो इकोनॉमी पे भी ये एक काफी ज्यादा खतरा है. So these are the some of the impacts of erosion. Coming back to a slide. So 15th फाइनेंस कमीशन ने अभी रिसेंटली यही रेकमेंड किया है दैट वी नीड टू क्रिएट अ टीम, right? We need to create a team, and also along with that we need to create a fund so that we can do this crisis management, right? Through what? Through NDRF and SDRF, ये जो भी स्टेट डिजास्टर रिस्क मैनेजमेंट कमिटीज होती हैं और नेशनल लेवल पे जो भी कमिटीज होती हैं, ये वी नीड टू come up with them so that we can do the risk management and the crisis management, और time पे properly risk crisis response कर सके ये सारी teams, ठीक है? So this could be a possible solution to cater erosion. All right, so up next we have is next we've already done it, so just a quick revision. So कोस्टल इरोजन जो है ये एक प्रोसेस है जहां पर नॉर्मली जो भी इन विच अ लोकल सी लेवल राइज या फिर कोई भी किसी भी स्ट्रॉन्ग वेव एक्शन से, और इधर थ्रू फ्लडिंग, ठीक है, जितने भी कैरी अवे हो जाते हैं, जो रॉक्स है, सॉइल्स है, सैंड्स हैं कोस्टल एरिया पे, they get away from that area, and this is precisely we call as erosion. This could also be uh, through corrosion, abrasion, hydraulic action, attrition, all of them you're going to read in your geography classes. So ye in sab ki wajah se bhi ho sakta hai. As you can see in the next picture also, the land is being eroded, yahan se erosion hua hai, so you can connect with this also. Up next we have the next topic, which belongs to another subject, defense, and the topic is Helena. Just two things you need to remember. ये मैंने जानबूझ के लगाया है. There's nothing much you need to read about it. Just two factual points you have to remember regarding it. First thing, कि ये है क्या Helena? What is it? So this is ये एक helicopter है. This is an indigenously developed helicopter launched anti-tank guided missile Helena, which successfully which was successfully tested recently. So I beg your pardon. It is ये एक this is a what? This is anti tank guided missile जिसका नाम हमने हेलिना रखा है और इसको हम हेलीकॉप्टर से भी लॉन्च कर सकते हैं. This is what this line says. As you can see in the picture, this helicopter is launching this missile, राइट. सो यही एक फैक्चुअल पॉइंट आपको इसके बारे में याद रखना है कि व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज इट. यूपीएससी आई थिंक इन 2017 और 18 आई गेस दे हैव आस्क्ड दिस डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन. ठीक है, एक एंटी टैंक मिसाइल पे ही उन्होंने क्वेश्चन पूछा था. दे हैव गिवन द नेम ऑफ द मिसाइल एंड दे हैव आस्क्ड वेदर इट इज अ मिसाइल और व्हाट इज वेदर इट इज अ सैटेलाइट और अ मिसाइल और व्हाट इज इट. सो you just need to find out there कि ये है क्या एग्जैक्टली. और इसकी जो मैक्सिमम रेंज है is 7 kilometers, and who the flight test was jointly conducted by DRDO and Indian Army and Indian Air Force. So again, this also could be the point which you can remember, right? But जो major point है वो आपको ये याद रखना है that it is a ATGM, which is anti-tank guided missile, right? Moving ahead with our next topic. Our next topic is Vernacular Innovation Program, belongs to social issues. This could be a probable question in your mains examination or one of the recommendations while you're writing your mains examination ke mains answers. Vernacular Innovation Program. Vernacular Innovation Program को पढ़ने से पहले I would like to quote a figure here of census 2011. In census 2011, what had happened, or they gave this report that only 10.4% 10.4% of the population, or of 10.4% of Indians, they speak English. ठीक है. And amongst them also, most of them speak English as their second, third or fourth language. ठीक है, not as their first language. इनमें से भी जो only 0.02% were the Indians जिनकी first language जो थी वो है English. ठीक है. इस पूरे टॉपिक को समझने के लिए दिस डेटा वाज वेरी मच नीडेड, right? Now you know that how much percentage of the population of our Indian population speaks English as their first language, as their first preferred language, right? Okay. Now you think and now you imagine if there will be training programs in English, so people won't be able to really connect with it, or won't be, won't get connected with it. तो इसीलिए to overcome this thing, Niti Aayog has launched this vernacular innovation program. So this will be an initiative to lower the language barrier in the field of innovation and entrepreneurship, such that it will systematically decouple creative expressions and languages of transaction. So whatever training they're going to give in the innovation or the entrepreneurship field, it will be in all the 22 languages, so that the barrier language of just with the English could be removed, right? English is a barrier to a lot of people. So in order to remove that barrier, the training programs will be conducted in all of the languages which are mentioned in our 8th schedule of our constitution, right? So 22 languages में now it will be available. ठीक है. इसको implement कौन करेगा? AIM या फिर अटल इनोवेशन मिशन has identified and will be training what? Vernacular task force, जो कि and this task force will be the will be helping in the implementation. एम के अगर हम एम या फिर अटल इनोवेशन मिशन की अगर हम बात करें, ये एक फ्लैगशिप इनिशिएटिव है ऑफ नीति आयोग टू प्रमोट अ कल्चर ऑफ इनोवेशन एंड entrepreneurship in our country. We all know this, and these were some of the things which they have achieved. Like for example, Atal tinkering labs they've opened. Apart from that, mentors of change, Atal established incubation center, Atal research and innovations for small enterprise, which we which is famously called as Arise. Next is Atal New India Challenge and Atal Community Innovation Center. And now in this, one more thing would be added, which is Vernacular Innovation Program being implemented by Niti Aayog. ठीक है? Or Atal Innovation, it is under Atal Innovation Mission only. Right? So this was about, I hope the entire context and the entire agenda behind Vernacular Innovation Program is clear to you. Moving ahead with the next topic belongs to culture, Lingaraj Temple. Okay. So Lingaraj Temple. So there are two, three things you need to remember regarding this. First, the position, the location of it. So it is situated in Odisha, Bhubaneswar. Odisha mein ye situated hai, right? So what has recently happened? The central government has told Odisha government that its ordinance to bring 11th century this Lingaraj temple in Bhubaneswar and its associated temples under a special law is outside the legislative competence of the state legislature, right? फॉर आर एग्जामिनेशन परस्पेक्टिव इट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट कि हम ये टेम्पल के बारे में जाने, इसके हिस्टोरिकल फैक्ट्स के बारे में जाने. सो इट इज़ वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट टेम्पल्स ऑफ ओडिशा, राइट. ये जो है आपका कलिंगा स्कूल ऑफ आर्किटेक्चर, कलिंगा स्कूल ऑफ आर्किटेक्चर से बिलोंग करता है. कलिंगा स्कूल ऑफ आर्किटेक्चर की अगर हम बात करें, सो कलिंगा स्कूल ऑफ आर्किटेक्चर बेसिकली इसमें बेसिकली टेम्पल इज मेड इन टू पार्ट्स. कलिंगा की अगर हम बात करें, Kalinga School of Architecture. So here temple is made in two parts. ठीक है, which are those parts? वो जो दो parts हैं would be your tower and hall. ठीक है, इस टावर को जो है हम और किस नाम से जानते हैं? This is called Deol, and this hall will be Jagmohan. This hall will be Jagmohan. Right? This was a brief idea about Kalinga temple architecture. So yeah, I hope this thing is clear to you. So issue we have already done. This bringing this is entire is out of the legislative competence of the state legislature. ठीक है, तो इसीलिए Union Ministry of Home Affairs has said that several provisions of this proposed ordinance were in conflict with this act, which is famously called as आमसर एक्ट या फिर एंशियंट मॉन्यूमेंट्स एंड आर्कियोलॉजिकल साइट्स एंड रिमेन्स एक्ट ऑफ 1958, वेयरइन यहाँ पर ये जो आमसर का जो मेजर फंक्शन होता है इज टू प्रोटेक्ट एंड प्रिजर्व द आर्कियोलॉजिकल साइट्स एंड द और द रिमेन्स ऑफ द साइट्स. ठीक है, which is of national importance, right? So the issue is this only, that it is outside the legislative competence of the state legislature. Apart from this, it also violates the Amsar Act, and I've already talked about what does this act talks about, or what is it all about. It basically talks about preserving the archaeological or the historical monuments, right, and also the remains of it. If you see, this is the Lingaraj temple. Okay, you can have a look at it. You must always, whenever you're preparing, you must always look at, especially I'm talking about the temples, तो आपको एक बारी देख भी लेना चाहिए. You never know, देखने से it'll be there in your mind for a longer time, so you always must go through the picture also. Next, Jyoti Rao Phule, a very very important, magnificent, magnanimous, ठीक है, a very important, a very great, I would say personality rather, Jyoti Rao Phule. So, Jyoti Rao Govind Rao Phule actually belonged to Maharashtra, and there were many, the area of work which was done by him extends to a lot of thing. He worked in caste oppressions, ठीक है, education field में worked, women empowerment may also he worked, right? And apart from that, untouchability. So he was a multifaceted personality, ठीक है. Some of the key contributions: 1984 1948 में the first school for girls at Pirewada in Pune he opened, he started. उसके बाद 73 में सत्यशोधक समाज भी, which is the society of truth seekers, right? He formed along with his followers to do what, to fight for basic rights for the people belonging to the lower caste. So lower caste, as I've told you, lower caste के लिए भी he worked, राइट. उसके अलावा इन्फेंटिसाइड को स्टॉप करने के लिए, फीमेल इन्फेंटिसाइड स्पेशली, विडो रिमैरिज के लिए भी ही वर्क. सो दीज वर द वर्क्स ही डिड, एंड यू हैव टू रिमेंबर ऑल ऑफ देम. अनटचेबिलिटी, सोशल स्टिग्मा, लोअर कास्ट, इन सब चीज़ों में उन्होंने काम किया, राइट. इनके जो फेमस कुछ काम हैं ये आपको याद रखने हैं, फैक्चुअल पॉइंट्स हैं कुछ, यूपीएससी कैन आस्क यू. सो द फर्स्ट वन वाज तृतीय रत्न 1855 में, गुलामगिरी, ठीक है, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, वेरी फेमस, ठीक है. देन यू हैव शेतकार्याचा असुद, और यू कैन से कल्टिवेटर्स विप गॉड. देन यू हैव सत्यशोधक समाजोग, मंगल सशक्त कशा सर्व पूजा विधि. I'm sorry for the pronunciation, but you can see it, of 1887. So these were some of the work done by Jyotirao Phule. Next is Birsa Munda. Recently, abhi in pe bhi ek book आई, the education minister has released a book on the life of this tribal, of this freedom fighter Birsa Munda. Birsa Munda, important topic hai for our examination perspective. I'm talking about UPSC has asked question over this in 2020. उलोगन पे उन्होंने question पूछा था, ठीक है. So the name of the book title Birsa Munda, ठीक है, and written by, you don't need to remember, but what you need to remember for your examination perspective is who was he, कौन से struggles थे which he fought, what all were the fights he fought, and what were the causes he fought for, basically what were the themes he fought for. So 1899 और 1900 की बात है when Munda rebellion took place. It basically was against the land policy of the Britishers, of the Hindu landlords, or of the money lenders, ठीक है, of the Britishers plus Hindu landlords plus money lenders. लैंड रिफॉर्म्स की हम बात कर रहे हैं, या लैंड पॉलिसी यू कैन से, ठीक है, oppressive land policies, ठीक है, oppressive land policies towards tribals. So he fought for it. 1899 or 1900, this timeline also you have to remember. They can ask you. He was also known as Earth Father, ठीक. What were some of the achievements? So जो इन्होंने मूवमेंट स्टार्ट करी थी, उलगुलन बोलते हैं, यूपीएससी हैज आस्क्ड दिस कि व्हाट इज इट रिलेटेड विद, ओके. And if you talk about the area where the fight and everything took place was छोटा नागपुर, ठीक है, हम ये अभी झारखंड और बिहार वाला जो रीजन है उसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, दैट एरिया वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. एंड फाइनली ही डाइड इन कॉलरा, जेल में इनको डाल दिया गया और कॉलरा से इनकी डेथ हो गई. एंड फाइनली the entire movement also died along with his death, ठीक है. So that was all about this week's current affair. I hope it was helpful to you. We will come up with the next week's current affairs also for April, and we'll keep coming and we'll keep meeting. Till then, study hard. Thank you so much.